First John chapter 3 verse 4, New Living Translation. Everyone who sins is breaking God's law, for sin is contrary to the law of God. So according to First John chapter 3 verse 4, sin means breaking God's law. When somebody breaks God's law, they are committing sin. Okay, so now let's go to the book of the law. Let's go to the law and see what it says about turkey. And I will be able to show you from this presentation and from the Bible that it's a sin to eat a turkey. When you eat a turkey, you are sinning, because we are not supposed to eat turkeys. And I will be able to show you from the book of the law. And when you eat a turkey, you are sinning, because the law says that we should not eat turkeys. In Romans chapter 2 verse 13, Paul says that hearing the law does not justify us, but keeping the law is what justifies us in front of the Most High. And that's very important, because that is one of the least quoted verse in the Bible. Romans chapter 2 verse 13, Paul makes it very clear that just hearing the law does not do us any good. It does not, doesn't do us any good. But keeping the law is what justifies us. That is what justifies us in front of the Most High. And Christ said in John chapter 14 verse 15, if you love me, keep my commandments. In Matthew chapter 5 verse 17 to 21, he tells us that he did not come to abolish the law, that whoever breaks the least of the commandment and teaches others to do so will be the least in the kingdom, but whoever keeps the least of the commandment and teaches others to do so will be great in the kingdom. In Matthew chapter 7 verse 21 to verse 23, Christ made it very clear that a lot of people will come to him in the last days, and they will be like, oh Lord, we did this in your name, we cast out demons in your name, we heal sick people in your name. And he will tell them, get away from me, depart from me, depart from me, I don't know who you are, because you broke God's law. And he is going to tell those people to depart from him, because they did not keep the law of the law that we're talking about right now, the laws in the Torah, in the commandment. In Revelation chapter 22 verse 14, he makes it very clear that those who will be allowed into the kingdom of heaven are those who kept the commandment. They will be allowed to eat from the tree of life and will be allowed to come into the city, which is the kingdom of heaven. So this is a very serious issue. This is not a joke. Anyway, let's go to the law, to the book of the law. Leviticus chapter 11 verse 13 to verse 19. Leviticus 11, 13 to 19. And these are they which ye shall have in abomination among the fowls. They shall not be eaten. They are an abomination: the eagle, and the ossifrad, and the osprey, and the vulture, and the kite after his kind, and every raven after his kind, and the owl, and the night hawk, and the cuckoo, and the hawk after his kind, and the little owl, and the cormorant, and the great owl, and the swine, and the pelican, and the gier eagle, and the stork, and the heron after its kind, and the leopard, and the bird. Okay, so according to Leviticus chapter 11 from verse 13 to verse 19, here we see all the birds that the Most High told us not to eat. And he said that these birds, they are an abomination. We should not eat them. So let's look at verse 14 of Leviticus chapter 11. If you look at verse 14, it says, and the vulture, and the kite after its kind. Now, the phrase that I will like you to pay attention to here is the phrase after his kind. You will see there's a lot of after its kinds in this verses from verse 13 to verse 19. So the reason why the Most High did not include the names of all the birds we are supposed to eat or we are not supposed to eat in the Bible is because there's just way too many birds. There's hundreds or if not thousands of birds, and there will not be enough space to include their names in the Bible. Let me give you an example. In the ocean, there are thousands of creatures in the ocean. The Most High says that in the ocean, anything that have fins and scales, that we can eat. Anything that does not have fins and scales, we cannot eat that. So that's a very simple way of making it really simple for us to know what we can eat and what we cannot eat, because simply writing down all the names of all these birds and the names of all the creatures in the ocean, there will not be enough room in the Bible to include their names. That is the reason why the Most High have narrowed it down by saying that in everything of everything in the ocean, you can only eat anything that has fins and scales. So this excludes shrimp, lobster, and shark, and whatever, all those creatures in the ocean. We are not supposed to eat that, but we can only eat anything that have fins and scales. Now back to Leviticus chapter 11. So if you look at verse 14, you will see that the Most High says that we are not supposed to eat a vulture. We're not supposed to eat vulture. We're not supposed to eat kite after their kinds. So it's very important for you to pay attention to this. The point here is after their kind. So the Most High is mentioning all this bird. He's mentioning them by name. So he chose few birds to mention by name, but we are not supposed to eat those birds and after their kinds or any other bird that looks like those birds. So we're not supposed to eat a vulture or anything that looks like a vulture or any bird that is of the vulture family. So vulture and kite and raven, they all have lines. They all have family members. They all have other birds that looks like them. A good example of this will be pigeon. A pigeon and a dove is of the same kind, but a pigeon is a pigeon, a dove is a dove. This is the reason why the Most High told us that if a woman, when it's time to make a sacrifice for a woman after her birth, if she cannot afford to bring the actual sacrifices, she can bring a pigeon or she can bring a dove, because according to the Most High, pigeon and dove, they are of the same kind. Now back to Leviticus chapter 11, verse 14. So it's very important to pay attention to what he's saying here, because he is saying that we are not supposed to eat the eagles. We're not supposed to eat an eagle or after her kind. We're not supposed to eat osprey, and after her kind. We're not supposed to eat vulture, and after her kind. And we're not supposed to eat a raven after his kind. So it's very important here to pay attention to to not to miss what he's trying to say. And again, I think I've tried explaining this. Now let me show you some pictures. If you look at this, is a picture of a vulture. Remember in Leviticus chapter 11 verse 14, the Most High says that we should not eat a vulture or anything that looks like a vulture. So we are not allowed to eat vulture or after her kind, because vulture is an abomination, and you will see the reason why the Most High told us not to eat them. So here's the picture of a vulture. Please pay attention to the head. I want you to take a look at the head of this vulture. If you look at the head, you can see that the head is red, and it's pretty much there's no hair in the head of this vulture. Now here is the picture of another vulture. If you look at the head of this vulture also, you will see that this vulture has a bald head and there is no hair. And that is how vultures look like. All vultures, every single vulture, they usually have a bald head, and they don't have hair in their head. And here's a picture of another vulture, and you can see that this vulture is eating something, and this vulture is eating a dead animal somewhere in the bush. And that's because they are scavengers. They survive by eating dead animals. That's how they survive. That's what they eat. They eat dead animals. Okay, so now here's the picture of a turkey. And if you look at the head of this turkey, you will be able to see that it's almost identical with the head of the vulture that you saw in the picture a moment ago. Okay, so here's a picture of another turkey. This is a turkey. This is your average turkey. You know, the turkey, the one that we used to eat. So here's a picture of a turkey. Now take a look at pay attention to the head of this turkey. You can see that this turkey has a bald head and there is no hair in the head of this turkey. And here's one more picture of a turkey. Now you can do your own research and look at the pictures of turkeys. You will see that they all have bald head. They do not have hair in their head. But the point of showing you these pictures is to as they say, picture speaks louder than there's a very pictures are very powerful. If I explain this to you just verbally, you probably will not be able to understand it as much as you will by looking at these pictures. And you can see that vultures and turkeys, they are of the same family, just like pigeon and doves are of the same family. So, and our Heavenly Father, when He told us to sacrifice a dove, if you cannot bring a dove, you can bring a pigeon. If you cannot bring a pigeon, you can bring a dove. So they are of the same kind. So the Most High will accept a dove. If you are not able to bring a pigeon, or if you cannot bring a pigeon, He can accept a dove. It doesn't matter. They are of the same kind. But a pigeon is a pigeon, though. Pigeon is not a dove. Pigeon is a pigeon. A dove is a dove. But they are of the same kind. So it's the same thing with turkey and a vulture. So in Leviticus chapter 11 verse 14, the Most High said that this bird, they are an abomination. In verse 14 of Leviticus chapter 11, He told us not to eat vultures or after their kinds. I hope you're able to kind of understand that we cannot eat a turkey, because turkey and vultures, they are of the same family, and according to the Most High, we are not allowed to eat that. And according to 1 John chapter 3 verse 4, going ahead to continue eating a turkey, it's breaking the law of Leviticus chapter 11 verse 14. That's breaking the law. And anybody who is intentionally or who is deliberately breaking the law of the Most High, after realizing or after knowing that they're not supposed to do that, that person is basically rebelling against the Most High, and and that's a sin. You cannot do that. If you have any question or any comment, please feel free to comment below the video. And if you have any if you would like us to do a presentation on any other topic or subject in the Bible, feel free to contact, or just or just put it down on your comment. And also please go ahead and subscribe to the channel, because we are going to be uploading more videos. And we're going to be uploading more videos. Thank you so much for your time, and thank you for watching.